Never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
Should I have?
It's a ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Kessel Run Weekly. I say welcome back as if we were here last week, but it has been like 3 weeks since I've given you guys a main channel episode, so I'm so sorry about that. But I am done with school for the quarter, so I have a month to make up episodes and be able to get back in it, so that's going to be fun. But I am joined today by Joe and Connor. Say hi, Joe.
Hi.
Say hi, Connor.
What's up, squad?
So they are both joining me because we are all super hype on The Mandalorian. We're going to be talking these first 4 episodes, and I'm very excited. Before we get started in the episodes, Connor, what has been your favorite... You know what? What's been your favorite Baby Yoda moment of these 4 episodes?
When he was on the Razor Crest, flying around, debuting Disney's newest theme park attraction. That was definitely my favorite part.
Yes, ideal. Joe, what was your favorite Baby Yoda moment?
Oh God, he's been like he keeps developing, and I love how he got a little mischievous with the eggs. Like that was like, oh my gosh. So like he's really like. Even though we still know he's on the good side, we also know that he's slightly chaotic.
Yeah, that's totally fair. My favorite Baby Yoda moment was, oh God, okay, when he's in the speeder bike and he is like, his ears are flapping and he's really excited, like a dog sticking its head out the window.
I liked it in the first season when he did that too.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
With the IG droid, that was amazing.
It's the best. Okay, so let me pull up my tabs. We love open tabs so that I have proper information. We are jumping right into episode 9. We are going to get started with a character card, I guess, with Gor Koresh. So before I talk about Gor Koresh, I want to know your thoughts on them. Joe, how did you feel about the character? Did you like him? What's your history with him? How do you feel?
I want to make sure I have the right character in mind. Was Gor Koresh the Cyclops alien?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure. That was a very interesting moment, and I don't know too terribly much about the character's background, but just seeing the way that scene went down and how Mando, still pertained to his, I don't know how to say it, like to his regular character.
Yeah.
And, still being, like, still having some anti-hero qualities. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Or not funny, but, it's cool and it's gritty, and that's what I like about The Mandalorian is that overall tone.
I was going to say, no, I get what you mean, because it sets the stage for him as we know him. Connor, how do you feel about Gor Koresh?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It sets the stage. You think back to season 1. The opening shot is Mando walking into a bar, and he's going in for a bounty, and then things go a little bit sideways, and he comes out of it. Mm-hmm. Season 2 starting the same way. He's walking into this arena, he's trying to pull off this deal with Gor Koresh, and it goes sideways. Except now, Mando's a lot different in season 2 than he is in season 1, because season 1 it was like, all right, they very simply take you in, bring you in warm, bring you in cold. Mm-hmm. I don't care. I'm just here to do a job. Mm-hmm. Dude, he's kind of like, hey, I got to take care of this baby. I'm gonna also kick some tail, but it was very interesting to see sort of those 2 seasons rhyme almost like poetry.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about the variation in Mando in this episode specifically. It hit me later on in these 4 episodes, but I hadn't thought about it like right off the bat. So that's such a good observation. Gorkoresh info that I have, this is on Wikipedia. Anybody can find it. But he was a male Abyssin. And obviously he encountered Din Djarin and the child. It says that he was interested in the Beskar. And so here's basically my question for you guys. Do you think that anybody that the Mando encounters that's, like, sketchy in any way is literally only using him for the Beskar, or do you think we're gonna overcome that issue and not have that happen literally every time he meets someone new? Connor, what do you think?
No, I think the Beskar is a really good way for an average sort of citizen in the galaxy to care about Mando, or to sort of want things from him.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, Gorkoresh has no idea about the child, right? Has no idea that he's wanted by all sorts of people. But Gorkoresh does know, hey, this guy's wearing a lot of Beskar and that's worth a lot of money. So, I think we'll continue to see this theme of sort of like, hey, anytime Mando ends up in a situation, if it's the Imperials after him, they're going to be after the child.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just regular people after him, it'll be, hey, they want something from the ship, they want his Beskar, they want him to kill something, which is how every episode's been like, hey, we'll advance the plot, but first,
yeah,
it's right quest. So.
Yeah, that's funny. Joe, what do you think? Agree? Disagree?
No, I agree with that too. And I think it's pretty obvious that Mando's Beskar armor is definitely something that establishes him as a key figure as far as, like, just your average bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Like, he sticks out. And that stuff is basically almost the vibranium of the Star Wars, of at least of the Mandalorian.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point.
Yeah, and, just the fact that it's worth so much money, he has a reason to be a target. So I like how the Beskar plays in. I think it will continue to. That will always, be some kind of a low-key factor. But maybe with plot development and Moff Gideon coming in, maybe it'll be a little different. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So basically I'm gonna try not to go over every, like, little detail of the episodes, because if everybody's listening, they've probably seen them because they don't want a spoiler. So they obviously have their little bout in the fighting area, and then when Mando hangs him up by his feet, he says, "I swear by the Gotra," which isn't it, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the Gotra a droid thing? Like, isn't that, like, the head of the droids or something? Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
You got me on that.
I can't recall. And, like, maybe it's something else. Maybe there's multiple Gotra. But I was just curious if you guys thought it was weird that he, like, swore by, like, a droid thing.
No,
because I thought it was
all
weird.
have their own gods that they worship. Who knows?
Yeah, and also that, yeah, like, how serious was that? Why would that mean anything to him?
Right.
Yeah. So the Gotra were the droid group that supported droid rights. They were they had grievances against the Galactic Empire for being abandoned after their service in the Clone Wars, and they were confined to an industrial complex in Coruscant. So
interesting.
Yeah,
that's
totally
so
fascinating
strange
that you would reference that.
Yeah, it's so weird. He's not a droid, is he? Plot twist. Not a Cyclops at all.
Sorry, go on.
Huh? No, go ahead.
Super interesting to think about, like, the power dynamics, right? Because Gorkoresh is swearing on a droid sort of rights group on Coruscant, but obviously he's not. Like, and yeah, it's interesting to think, like, okay, here's how all these different factions sort of align.
Yeah.
When you think back to like Clone Wars and all the really interesting factions that existed within Clone Wars. You got, like, the Pike Syndicate, right? Or the group that Kira went and ran with. It's fascinating to think, like, okay, well, here's how all of these things are going to line up, or maybe not line up. Like, we'll see.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do wonder if that's where he happened to fall into. Yeah, because I guess that's me just being, like, very specific about, like, why would you worship a droid? He has every right to worship whatever he wants, but it was just weird. Also, do we know what creatures, I tried to Google this, so maybe I'm just bad at Googling, but the creatures that ate him in the end, he's hanging upside down, and, like, my brain immediately went to those weird bat things that we've seen in, like, Rebels that crawl as well, and they can't go into the sunlight, but I don't remember what they're called, and I couldn't Google, like, what creature ate Gore Koresh in The Mandalorian.
Wikipedia says, it literally says, unidentified red-eyed quadruped.
Of course.
So if you Google that, first of all, you might be a doctor. But second of all, I don't think that would have been the first thing to come up. So.
Okay, great. Yeah, true.
I guess I'm on Wikipedia duty. Just continually poke us to those things. But
yeah, that's fair.
You got the computer on standby.
Yeah, it's helpful. I can only have so many tabs open, so I had to pick specific things that I wanted to focus on, because whenever I have too many tabs open, Whereby gets all crazy. And even now, like, our cameras are behind based on me having these tabs open. So as I close them, Whereby gets faster. It's ridiculous. So I can't have all of the things that I wanted to look up open. It's annoying. So the real meat of episode 9 is the Tusken sleepover. Just kidding. But I do love that part. That's probably my favorite part, is when he's just, like, hanging out with the Tuskens at the fire. He goes to Mos Pelgo because he is told that there's a Mandalorian there, and we find out that that's not true. What was your reaction when you saw the Boba Fett armor not on Boba Fett?
I looked at the armor and I was just like, that's Boba Fett's armor, but it's not Boba Fett. And like I looked like gazingly for the first two shots. I was just like, it's definitely not his posture. But
no.
We're gonna see who speaks from the helmet, and then whenever he takes it off and it turns out to be Timothy Oliphant, I was pretty psyched about that. He's a good actor.
He is a good actor. He's awesome. Connor, what was your reaction? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was hyped to see the armor, and then did sort of a double take.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, that's not Boba Fett.
Yeah. That's not him.
So I was like, yeah, he survived. And then I was like, wait, no, I guess he's dead. And then it's Marshall. And the Marshall's his own, like, interesting character.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's just sort of trying to, like, cut it in the Star Wars universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, but it sort of left me for the entire rest of the episode. I was sort of bummed because I was like, wait, I guess Boba Fett's dead. Like, that's kind of a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for me, I started thinking about how he got the armor, because when I first saw him, I was like, oh my god, and then I obviously also took a step back and was like, nuh-uh. Because it just didn't fit him right, Like, it was just, like, hanging funny, and, the red of the hood that he had sticking out of the helmet. Was he?
He seemed a little taller.
Oh, I'll have to look. Yeah, he probably was, to be fair. Definitely, like, skinnier, too. So, yeah, I was just kind of like, where did he get it? How did he find that? And then, who was I watching it with? I might not have been watching it with someone, but whoever I talked to after the episode was like, oh, I bet he got it off Jawas. And I was like, have you even seen it yet? And they were like, no. And I was like, how'd you know that? How did you even think that through like that? I didn't even make any sense to me, because I also was confused. It's similar to how Maz also ends up with things that she shouldn't have.
They don't explain it.
Mm-hmm. Jawas just do that.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
So you guys both enjoyed Cobb Vanth. So Connor, tell me your thoughts and your enjoyment of Cobb Vanth, because for me, I had no idea who he was. In reference to, I guess, previous things that we've gotten about him in comics, I believe. or just in general. I thought he was cool, but I had no like pre-existing knowledge of why he might have been cool.
Yeah, I thought he was an interesting. I think he was an interesting addition, and I think that's one of the cool things about the Mandalorian in general is it just brings out all these characters they're not force wielders, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
Cobb Vanth was completely thrown out of his town and just got armor, right? Which we we as viewers are sort of like, oh yeah, everybody's got armor. You know, we see the Mando with armor, we see all these other people with armor, but it's such a huge thing for Cobb Vanth to get this armor because it enables him to completely liberate his town and sort of get back to the way that they were living before.
Yeah.
So I thought it's like another piece of world building that's just really cool.
Yeah, I love that. Joe, why do you have an affinity for Cobb Vanth / Timothy?
Well, oh, Timothy. What do I have to say about Timothy? Well, I really like his Western feel that he brought to the character. And then also, I had seen Timothy Oliphant, and which is ironic, he was playing as an actor in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he played as a Western character.
Oh.
So, seeing him go to being to like bringing that actual Western feel to a character in Star Wars, that was a cool thing to see. And then also the fact that his story showing that how big of a difference Mandalorian armor can really be. I thought that was a cool thing to add in.
Yeah, that is awesome. When I first saw him, or I guess when I thought about the character on a deeper level other than being like a marshal of the town and having Boba Fett's armor, I was curious to know about where he would go from here, I guess, where he would go after meeting a real Mandalorian. If he's gonna continue like his journey in Mos Pelgo, or if he's gonna venture out of there and try and do more, since he's kind of seen more, even like just defeating the Krayt Dragon. I feel like that in and of itself is something new to his story that he probably was like, I never thought I would defeat this thing. Like, yeah, I'm big buff martial guy, but I just thought eventually I would either die or I would kill it, and it's way bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, having the Mando come in really just kind of blurred his vision from all the things he thought he knew.
Yeah.
Which I guess had already happened to him when everything got taken away from him, so that's sad. All right.
The character's going to go through some hardship.
Yeah, really. So Krayt Dragon is also another major part of this. Absolutely one of the coolest things I've ever seen is their fight with the Krayt Dragon and their whole maneuvering. I love that they worked with the Tusken Raiders. I think this is going to sound so dumb. No, it won't. It won't sound dumb. I think that what concerned me the most is that they literally, I know that the townspeople and everybody, they like signed up to be in danger, but they lost a lot of people in that fight. And the Marshal didn't seem concerned. Well, I can't say that he didn't seem concerned, but he didn't get a moment to seem concerned. And the Tuskens, they are, the Mandalorian show itself has revealed to us that Tuskens obviously are more than monsters, according to Anakin. So they also didn't get to like mourn their people or their banthas. So, Connor, I'd love to know how you felt watching the Krayt Dragon fight. What are your thoughts on the losses, and the character development of everybody involved, etc.?
Yeah, I loved the whole sequence. Thought it was awesome. I'm going to be honest, though. I really need to pass this one over to Joe to talk about Krayt Dragons because I know how much of a KOTOR fan he is. And so I thought about you when I was watching, and I was like, "This, I know he's enjoying this."
Oh my god! I remember watching it with my little brother, and when he says Krayt Dragon, he and I looked right at each other, and we were like, "Oh, we know what that means." And then seeing the fight go down, that was so cool. The dragon did not have the same appearance as it did in Knights of the Old Republic, but it was still cool. I liked the design, and then the fact that they found a pearl in it, that's another thing that they did in KOTOR.
Mm-hmm.
They found a Great Dragon Pearl, and it's apparently a powerful object for a lightsaber in the game. So who knows? Maybe them showing that pearl is going to play into the future of the story.
Yeah, I didn't know the thing about the pearl until I Googled it after the show. What's the difference visually from the Great Dragon in KOTOR to this one?
It looked more like a Komodo dragon versus being like a fully submerged underground. I don't even know what you want.
An Alaskan bullworm.
Oh, okay.
Alaskan bullworm. I love the SpongeBob reference. So I'm disappointed because I thought dragon. So I wanted a dragon. I know that's so dumb, but
You wanted it to come out with wings.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, cave dragon.
Fire, so like that's okay, right?
That's fair. And the face was very dragon-like, and that's, I guess, the most important part.
Sure.
Yeah. That's really it. The pearl is awesome. I didn't know anything about it until I Googled it afterwards. I do wonder if that will come into play in The Mandalorian ever again, or if it's just gonna be like new knowledge that we have, and then we'll see it later on in like movies or other TV shows. And we got Boba Fett armor, and then we got the end of this. So, Connor, I'll give it back to you. How did you feel?
Total hype. Yeah, no, total roller coaster from the beginning, where it's like, oh wait, that's Boba's armor, but wait, that's not Boba. To okay, that's Timothy Oliphant or the Marshal.
Mm-hmm.
And so you sort of go the whole episode thinking, all right, well, they just did all these awesome things, right? And just like fan serviced in the best way possible with the Great Dragon Pearl and which, by the way, I don't know how you fit a Great Dragon Pearl into a lightsaber hilt.
Right.
Good point.
Break a piece of it.
Sure. Like I don't know. All right. Like I'm sure that's explained somewhere. But
That'd be funny.
yeah,
That'd be a funny attachment. Very inconvenient for the lightsaber.
Sure.
Yeah, true.
But then seeing Boba was hype, right? Because it's like, oh wait, he is alive.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what happened? Right now, it's like, okay, there is a story, like another story for an interesting time to figure out either how Boba got out or how how he survived or how the Jawas got his armor, and I just want to know.
Yeah.
And who knows when we'll know?
Just like pure curiosity.
It has this extra element though, because now it's like, okay, not only is the Empire looking for the Mando, the Empire or the remnants looking for Mando. Now you've got Boba that's following Mando, trying to get his armor. Like, so who's going to catch up with him first?
Yeah. What's going to happen first? I want to know how Boba is following him. Like, he's got to be. That's what that moment felt like it meant. So, like, whose ship is he using? Is he just following him constantly? How, in all of these moments where Mando is kind of stuck, and falling apart on these different planets, why isn't Boba stepping in? Does he not know what he wants to do about him? Does he want to, like, make a friend out of him? I'm so curious to see his motives behind all of it. If he just wants his armor back, or if he's like, I don't want to be a Mandalorian anymore. Or, because we know Boba's gone through phases, Yeah. I went through this whole thing with my friend who has only seen pieces and parts of Star Wars. And I think she watched season 1 of Mandalorian, but she hasn't started season 2. And so I was explaining to her all of these episodes and, like, Boba and the Clone Wars and Rebels and just all 4. It was chaotic, me trying to explain all of this, but I'm excited. Joe, what are your feelings about Boba and the future in The Mandalorian?
Well, first off, seeing him, like, whenever I first saw the armor, I was like, oh my gosh, we are probably going to see him in this episode, or at least later down the road. And then when that shot comes up and you see him staring at the twin suns, and then he turns around, I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Honestly, I was like, thank you, Jon Favreau, for keeping him alive.
Yeah.
Because we need, like, the fan base needs that character because he's just so mysterious and so cool.
He's got, like, such a cult following. I'm so excited to see
exactly.
what all of them say about it. I also wonder, because we see the Mando literally, like, claw his way out of the crate dragon, I wonder if that's either, like a hint about how Boba got out, or if something just happened to the Sarlacc and then he got out.
Who knows? Maybe the crate dragon ate it.
Can they do that?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, maybe that's it. Okay. We are going to, like, jet through episode 10 really quick. So I'm just going to spew some things. The first thing that I took note of when I rewatched was the jetpack move that he pulled on the weird thing that we saw in Force Awakens, but now we're also seeing it here. I don't know how to describe it. I didn't look up what it was called, but I'm assuming it's an alien robot thing. Anyways.
We call it a robotic Jawa.
There you go. Robotic Jawa. Love that. He hands him the jetpack, and he's running away, and he blows him up in the air, and he just falls. I love it. The humor in The Mandalorian is absolutely one of my favorite things ever in Star Wars. I never thought I'd say that, but it's awesome.
No, I agree.
Then we're back at Mos Eisley. I can't use my words. And when he walks into a cantina, I don't think it's the cantina. It's a cantina. It's got what looks like Saga above the door. I don't know if anybody notices that, but I was really proud that I noticed it. And if you didn't notice it,
I don't think I noticed
watch
that.
it. Go back and watch that moment. I'm pretty sure it says Saga over the door. And then we meet Frog Lady. How do you guys feel about Frog Lady? Connor, what are your thoughts? Why do you like her? Do you not like her? What's up?
She seems like a very nice lady. I feel bad for all of her eggs.
Oh, I see where this is going.
I feel bad for all of her eggs, and I wish her the best.
And that's it. Connor's 2 cents.
Yeah. That's about all. That's all I have to say about Frog Lady. Sorry.
Okay, Joe, how do you feel about Frog Lady?
She was a good plot device to get the Mando to an area where he could continue to, unravel his story. And
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was a funny addition, but I was also like, you know what, Star Wars is, it's meant to be kind of weird. So, I'm not like too shocked by the fantasy here, but
Yeah.
I thought she was tolerable.
Tolerable. I like that. I like that term. I think
Sorry.
Huh?
I gotta hook in. I'm so mad as I sit here and think about it. Who's like, oh, my ship's broken. I know. I'm gonna take a bath. Like, I get it. You're cold, but like, there's a million other things that you could do in that situation. Like try and help out Mando or something, right? Don't go and wander off.
Yeah.
I can't watch horror movies because they make me mad immediately.
That's
It's like,
so
why are you going to the abandoned cemetery? Like, well, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. This isn't a good time or place.
Going to go into this, it's a spa just for me. Like, get out of here.
It is interesting that she did that, especially after rewiring a whole robot, and being like, hey, guess what? I'm smart and I can talk through this thing and you're not listening to me and I care about my babies. And then she's just like, okay, bye.
I thought it was impressive that she used the vocabulator.
Yeah. It is impressive. I was impressed.
Impressive.
Cheyenne makes me even madder when I think about it. Like she obviously has some amount of technical skill and it's just like, all right, peace out.
Yeah. Good luck.
Go to the bath. Hope everything's fine. And then Baby Yoda needs to stop eating things.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's eggs or spiders or whatever. But,
yeah. He needs to get it together because he's causing problems. So because of that, that's going to be like our main point for episode 10 is Baby Yoda eating the eggs because apparently that has caused some drama on the internet.
Oh,
and
it's a story.
I am so concerned for people. I'm like, are you guys okay? Like, it's not that serious, first of all.
Yeah.
They're
story.
they're unfertilized jelly balls right now, and he's hungry, and they're frog babies, and he eats live frogs all the time. I'm just like, whenever I heard that, and whenever I saw the word genocide used with it, I was like,
that's how you know.
He's not evil yet. We don't know. I have seen theories about Darth Baby Yoda, but not yet. Connor, do you care that he was eating eggs?
Look, Anakin Skywalker did not become Darth Vader because he had an omelet in the morning. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes, Baby Yoda ate the eggs. Yes, it was bad. Yes, I had emotional attachments to that, to the frog lady and her quest. But like, come on.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
All Jedi aren't vegans, I don't think. So like,
Yeah, right.
That's an interesting theory, though. Imagine
it's
if
not
they
like the
had...
first thing that they want is a chicken in the morning. A piece of chicken.
It was just chaotic whenever I started seeing articles about that. And literally, okay, when I looked up for episode 11, which obviously we'll get there, I was looking up the creature that we see in that on the ship, on the boat. And I was like, what creature tried to eat Baby Yoda? And then it just bunches of articles about Baby Yoda causing genocide or eating eggs. Why is Baby Yoda eating eggs? And I was like, you guys, no,
I have no time for this.
That's not what I cared about.
This is not important.
I was like, this is not it.
Dave Filoni was flying an X-wing. That was cool. Let's let's hype that up and not talk about the eggs.
Seeing Dave Filoni flying the X-wing again, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Why do you guys think he didn't talk a lot?
I mean, I don't think every creator is going to want to, just write himself out, like, to take over a scene,
That's what I thought.
Maybe he only wanted to just be a small part of it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I was like, Dave seems to be that kind of creator that, like, always is somewhere, like, being Chopper and stuff. I don't know if he did anything in Avatar when he was on that, but I would assume so. But yeah, he's definitely like, I'm just in the background. But it's cool because I'm in the background and you guys know who I am. And then we meet the spiders, which I found out are called Krykna. Fun facts, I guess. I don't know what planet we're on. Do we know what planet we're on? Has anybody learned what planet the Krykna and the Falling is? No?
No idea.
Okay. That's it. End of episode. I'm out. I thought it was Ilum because it's an ice planet, but that's just me being lame. I don't know. Connor?
I thought that at first as well, but I don't have anything to back that up. And
me neither.
Eventually, I think we have to acknowledge that there's more than 7 planets in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
The X-Star.
And not everything happens on Tatooine. And
well,
a lot of stuff happens. 40% of the episodes happen on Tatooine.
But not everything.
There can be a weird spider planet, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I never want to go there. My friend had a good point the other day. We were talking about it, and he's like, I don't think people with arachnophobia would like that. And I was like, no, probably not. God. And I was like, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine getting through that episode with that kind of fear. That was hard for me, and I'm not scared of spiders. It was horrible.
It was definitely creepy.
It was pretty rough.
I feel confident it wasn't Ilum because it was technically in the unknown regions around this time period.
That makes sense. That's fair. Yeah, they're like very Outer Rim-ish now. So the X-Wings come back and help him, and then they're like, you're not under arrest, but you should be. Okay. Everything's fine. I need to know, Connor, what was your favorite moment from this episode, from episode 10? If you have one. You don't have to have one.
I didn't necessarily have one. It was a really good episode. It built a lot of things for the character. Baby Yoda was cute. Mando was trying his best. Dave Filoni was there, but I don't necessarily have a favorite standout moment for this one.
All right.
So, yeah.
Joe.
My favorite element of this episode was that they definitely put Mando through a grinder with with the crash, and then the way the ship's condition was when they left, and the spiders getting up into the ship, and no, not Baby Yoda. I'm not going to say Baby Yoda. I'm going to say the child, and the child being able to, I don't want to say play around more, but just be more of a factor in everything that's going on. And then the frog lady having her kids, it really shows how he handles, not I won't say almost any situation, but how he really pulls himself together to not just shoot things,
Yeah, that's fair. My favorite moment was when Frog Lady screamed.
Oh my god.
When he was flying down towards the planet, escaping the X-Wings, escaping Dave, and the other guy, I can't remember his name.
You can't escape me.
And she was straight up screaming, and it was so funny to me, and that was one of my favorite parts. Okay, let's jump right into the meat of season 4 so far. What I would consider, I know other people would consider the Boba thing meat, all of it is. But this has definitely been the most foreshadowing episode, most foreshadowed episode. So I want to start off with something silly, and you guys can be like, Cheyenne, that's dumb. I'm not going to answer that. What do you think Frog Lady told her husband, her mate, about the journey that she just went on? Joe, what do you think she did?
I don't know, probably just glad to have made it, if I had to be honest. I think if they had elaborated on it more, she would have said, a lot more dialogue, and then the husband would have been like, what did you do? I'm not going to let you, get I'm not going to show you where the Mandalorians are or any of that.
That's true, yeah. If she bad-mouthed him, maybe the frog guy would have been like, no. Connor, do you have any insight on their conversation?
Probably just, hey, it's so good to see you, and I'm happy to be back.
That's it. She didn't say that she nearly died by spiders or by the Mandalorian.
No, I don't think so.
We won't talk about the spiders.
We won't talk about the spiders. Not the trauma. Not her jumping like a literal frog away from the spiders.
I nearly died because I had to take a bath.
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, she was a little embarrassed by that.
Maybe. The only reason I thought about that because again, yeah, I was like, she couldn't have said anything bad about it because they wouldn't have watched a child, or maybe they would have. But it was just such a random, silly thought that I had about that. And then another silly thing that happens at the beginning is we meet the Sweater Calamari guy. Sweatermon Calamari guy. Love him. He's blowing up in the cosplay community. Everybody is very excited to get their own Mon Calamari fisherman's sweater.
Naturally. Which they can now get I think they said, I saw a meme somewhere that it had come from a retail store somewhere.
Yeah, it's off JCPenney.
That is so funny.
I think it's the exact sweater. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know for sure, but I really think it is.
I'm dying.
So a lot of other things happen. Again, I'm trying not to do a play-by-play. And we just talked about this, but that creature that tried to eat Baby Yoda, I didn't back it up in the episode, but they do say it, and I think it starts with an M. So, if you guys know anything about the creature, feel free to chime in about that. But that was...
I don't know.
Nothing? That's probably one of the most traumatizing moments that Baby Yoda's had in this whole series so far. And Mando. I mean, Mando almost drowned in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he should have... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Connor.
No, what is it with the Quarren just always going and causing trouble?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Literally everywhere. In every show.
Yeah. All this baloney with Mando, right? And then, half the things they did in Clone Wars and stuff. It's like, guys, come on.
There's gotta be
one or two of you that aren't going to try and kill somebody or eat somebody on first sight. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange. That's a good point. So let's get into the details, the deets, if you will. Bo-Katan makes a great entrance. I knew who it was right away, only because it was very Bo-esque. I was trying to figure out a word that Bo-esque of her to drop in like that. Connor, what did you feel when Bo-Katan dropped in to save the day?
It was the most hype I've been. Like,
yeah.
It's the most hype that I was from the season. Like, for like up to that point.
Yeah.
Because like first of all, you're like, crap. How is Mando going to get through this?
Yeah.
You're like, maybe Yoda's in his bassinet. He's going to be fine, right? But how's Mando going to get out of this? And then to have somebody literally fly in and save them, and it be like Bo-Katan, like somebody that is obviously very important to Mandalorians, and really just a BA character. Like that was so cool, so cool. I didn't tear up. I teared up. It was nice.
It was nice.
But I did tear up.
It was nice. Joe, how did you feel?
I was pretty excited to see Bo-Katan come in, especially after having seen her in Clone Wars fairly recently. I was just like, oh, like they're finally bringing the universe is crossing over in so many different ways, and I love it.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see, because we're not. That's not the last of her that we're going to see. She's going to be back.
Yeah, not even by a long shot. She's not one of my favorite characters. I do have to admit she isn't, but she is a really cool character. Whenever I read the title "The Heiress," I thought it was talking about whoever was in the cloak. But I guess, do you guys? I don't know this for sure. Do you guys? Is that her like sidekick Mandalorian that's in the cloak?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because it didn't. Because I saw her later, and I was just like, "Oh, that's the Mandalorian earlier." I never
that's
the chick in the cloak from earlier. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't stare hard enough at the girl in the cloak. I was just like, "Oh my god, spooky," and then saw her later, and I was like, "That looks like the same person." Right. So I didn't take into account what the title meant until Bo was like, he has something that belongs to me. And they were talking about the Darksaber. And then I was like, oh my god, yeah, she is the heiress to Mandalorians. So now it all makes sense. And then, just so I can cover this before I forget, her co-Mandalorians' names were Casca Reeves and Axe Wolves, or Wolves, I don't remember. Casca was a part of the Night Wolves with Bo-Katan, which is an all-female Mandalorian group, which I love. That makes me super hype. It makes me want to learn more. I haven't searched any of that yet, but it is something cool that I found out. You guys, just, Connor, do me a favor and just go off about where you think this is going to go. What do you think Bo's role is going to eventually be past this episode? And how her and the Mandalorian are going to move forward?
Yeah, so first of all, to answer the question about was Casca or Koska the person wearing the hood, she was. So that was the same person.
Confirmed.
A couple of fascinating things, right? One, Bo calls the Mandalorians' particular adherence to Mandalorian religion like the extremist faction, right? So I think just that single sentence gives you a lot of insight into, all right, hey, where is it that Mando's coming from, and how is he viewed by the rest of the Mandalorians? So I think that's super fascinating. I think we'll see a lot of stuff on Bo bringing Din Djarin and just sort of into the fold a little bit more in the future. I totally think it was really cool how great of soldiers the Mandalorians were, and how different it was from Din Djarin's fighting style.
Yeah,
because they hopped on the cruiser, and it was hey, three people who have very clearly been in fights before and were clean on their corners and clearing out rooms and stuff. And then there was Din, who was just sort of hey, I'm going to figure this out, and sort of crouch along, and hey, I'll take a lot of shots running down the hallway for you. So that was super interesting to see. Just these Mandalorians are the warrior elite. They are, they're not going to take anything from anyone, and they are going to be able to clear out sort of any rooms. I thought both those things were interesting.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't even thought about their fighting styles. I definitely thought about just their mannerisms in general, because obviously, like, they showed up as a team, and all we've seen is Mandalorian as himself, but he has his own little, like, group with Greef Karga and Cara Dune. So is his dynamic with them the same? Was kind of where my brain went when Bo-Katan showed up, and I was like, how would the Mandalorian handle being a part of something bigger? Because he talks about them as if he has been a part of something bigger his whole life, even though he's been alone for quite some time, even with all those other Mandalorians underground.
They're definitely gonna, like, there's gonna be a clash between the clan of Mandalorians and Moff Gideon, without a doubt. Like, and as we've seen in the next episode, which we'll get into later, Moff Gideon is ready. He's got some cards up his sleeve.
Yeah. And something that Connor wanted to talk about too is something relevant to Moff Gideon is the Darksaber, and that's important. So Connor, take it away.
Yeah, I think it's so, like, the Darksaber teaser at the end of season 1 was really cool for everybody as fan, like as a fan. But it's not really important to anybody else that we've met in the entire series in the way that it's important to Bo.
Yeah,
because her sister was murdered by Darth Maul wielding the Darksaber. It was her sort of way to unite Mandalore, and obviously there's been something terrible that's happened to take it away. So, like, I think we see sort of a couple of different specific storylines sort of weaving their way through. One sort of, hey, what's Mando do with the child? Hey, what is Bo going to do to get the Darksaber back? And hey, what is Moff Gideon going to do to sort of take on both of them? So,
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I love that perspective and that thought process behind it, because for me, I had to research the Darksaber history, because even though I had seen both Clone Wars and Rebels, it hadn't really, like, the story of the Darksaber itself hadn't stuck with me, even though I knew its importance to the Mandalorians in general and the royalty of it all. But I hadn't, like, thought through any of that. So even with the end of season 1, when I saw it, I was like, that's so important to Mandalorians. Does the Mando know about it? I was kind of just like, what's going on? There wasn't really, like, me piecing together how it might have gotten taken away. You know what I mean? So that is such an interesting thought, because Bo is mad. Like, Bo is pissed in this episode. So I want to know how he stole it, and I know that we've never seen Casca and Axe before, but I want to know maybe where their relevance was before all of this, because if she's lost a lot of people and they're the only two traveling with her, what does that mean for them, Joe, do you have any thoughts on the Darksaber before we move on?
I just know that it's, like, well, I know its importance from watching Clone Wars, but I'm very excited to see how, obviously after seeing Moff Gideon cut his way out of the TIE fighter with it, I was like, oh my gosh, so this show is gonna, dive, connect with the Clone Wars in a unique way, and it's cool how the extra stuff outside of the films has been, the story outside of the films has been continuing.
Yeah, it's awesome. This is really, I think, bringing a lot of things together for people that didn't stay super dedicated to the movies, the casual fans, if you will. I'm wondering if any of them are actually, like, if they care, because my mom cares because I dragged her into caring more recently, so I don't know if, like,
started watching it.
Yeah, like, my friends that know who Ahsoka is but don't really care, don't know if they're going to be like, oh my god, I'm going to go make all these connections, and then if it's going to make them want to watch Clone Wars, or if they're just going to wait and see if The Mandalorian reveals all the important things to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She also calls Mando, this is just, like, a thing that I took away from that moment with them, is that she calls him a child of the Watch, so obviously we know she's talking about Death Watch. But I want to know where they went. So they, like, found him, made him a foundling, turned him into a Mandalorian, and disappeared? Like, where are they? What's going on?
I'm sure we'll get more of that as this season goes on. Or
I
maybe
wonder.
Just the story in general.
Yeah, I was like, maybe we'll see the past version of it, but, like, are we going to see them at all in Mandalorian? Death Watch, I mean?
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so hard to know. Right?
Yeah.
Because Joe made a great point about, hey, Bo's only traveling with 2 other Mandalorians, right? So does that mean that there's just way fewer? Was the group that Din Djarin was a part of, are they sort of a larger group, or were they more the fringe, or is there literally nobody left? Hey, and is that really why Bo wants the Darksaber? Is it to reunite everybody that was potentially knocked out in Mandalore and all these children of the Watch? Like, it's going to be super interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
So,
And how is she going to do that? How is she going to find all of them? That's what I want to know. That's a series in and of itself.
Another podcast.
That's a great line.
Yeah, really.
There are so many great stories that we obviously care about and we could talk about right here that don't necessarily fall into The Mandalorian, right? It's the story of Din Djarin and returning this child, right? But there's tons of other great info. There's tons of other great stories that we could get out of this that I think make it. That's almost what's more exciting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that I thought was funny, it was more of my humor that I found in this, is the Mando at some point to Bo on the Imperial ship says, "This is more than I signed up for." And I'm like my first thought was, that's happened every single time you've gone and done something. So why is this one different? And I know that for us, like, it's different literally for us for the sheer fact of he's got to get the child to his species. So obviously that's why it's more than he signed up for, because he can't go on another extended length journey, that is going to require more of our energy mentally and as fans. But it was just such an interesting thing that he said, because I was like, that's your life, my dude. Of course it's more than you signed up for.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, when your ship was broken, you didn't know that you were going to fight the Mudhorn, but here you are.
But here you are. Yeah.
Now playing it too.
The baby Yoda by himself is more than you signed up for, but here you are.
Can you talk about the Imperials for a second?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because we spent a lot of time talking about the Mandalorians. I love the characterization of the Imperials. Almost as zealots is the only word that I can think of to describe it, because it's the end of the Battle of Endor and the second Death Star was destroyed, and we've got all this other stuff that sort of talks about, hey, what the Empire did in Project Cinder, is that right?
Yeah, I think that's what it was, Project Cinder.
Yeah, and like the Battle of Jakku.
Yeah.
Like here we see like people that are still sort of trying to carry out the mission of the Empire, and they're doing it, and they don't care sort of like what the costs are. They're like willing to die for it. Much more so than I think anybody in the Empire was sort of either in Rebels or in episodes 4 through 6.
Yeah, way more.
Which is very interesting. So
yeah, I'm curious to know, like, A, how did you end up getting this job in this specific area? But also, I'm curious because this is 5 years after the technical fall of the Empire, correct? That's when the Mando was set. So, is this literal remnants of the Empire that survived, or isn't this the point in Bloodline, where the First Order is being formed and they're just calling themselves the Empire so that they're not giving themselves away? Does that make sense?
No, I think I get where you're going.
Because, and the girl, the female officer, which is the reason that gave me this thought, because I was like, oh yeah, remnants of the Empire. Like, they're just leftovers, and people like Moff Gideon were like, let's band together and keep going and keep doing what Emperor Palpatine wanted to do, because that also makes sense. That's definitely a feasible option. But when the female officer showed up, and I was just kind of like, they don't have females in the Empire. What is this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you guys agree with that? Do you guys think it is just remnants of the Empire, or do you guys think that this might be the First Order under the guise of it? What's your thoughts, Joe?
I think it's definitely more of a remnants of the Empire thing, right? At least right now. But who's to say? Because I think at this point, Ben Solo would have been fairly young, right?
Yeah, I think. I don't
So
know.
unless they've been planning the First Order rising for decades, then I think
That's
it's
fair.
I currently just think it's some like powerful quarters of the Empire just trying to
Research.
claw for life. Claw for life.
Yeah.
They're trying to survive.
Yeah.
So here's some fascinating stuff for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
So the Battle of Ondor happens in year 4 after the Battle of Yavin.
Yes.
The Battle of Jakku, which is sort of what's widely regarded as the complete fall of the Empire, like the main Empire forces and most of their Star Destroyers routed by the New Republic. That happened in 5 after the Battle of Yavin.
Okay.
Mandalorian is set in 5 after the Battle of Yavin.
Right.
And Ben Solo was born in 5 after the Battle of Yavin. So all these things are sort of happening at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel like the Empire that we see is not the large force that was defeated at the Battle of Jakku.
Right.
These are literally just the scattered remnants.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't think that we'll see them go and become the First Order, right? Because there's a lot of really great stuff that talks about how the First Order just really appeared in the unknown regions, or they disappeared in the unknown regions. I think that's what we might see towards the end of the Mandalorian. But so many interesting things happening all right around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's just so much going on. Let me make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, so another spicy moment of this episode is learning that Ahsoka Tano is on the city of Caladon in Corvus. On Corvus. I think I said all of that wrong. I can't use a bad word. I peed my pants. I was losing my mind. Literally, because as soon as Bo showed up, Ahsoka was not even on my mind. I was just like, oh my god, Bo-Katan, like, she's gonna show him what it's like to be a real Mandalorian, like, here we go. And then, well, I had a few confusing moments too. So he was like, I have to take him to the Jedi, and I was like, does he think that the Jedi is the name of his species? That was a thought that I had, because I was like, that's not right. But he did know, he was told that they were like wizards or whatever. So maybe he didn't think that they were his species, and he just said Jedi because that's also what he was correlating. He's like, if I get him to the Jedi, they'll get him to the species, or vice versa. So that might have just been like word usage that he messed up, for lack of a better word. So again, wasn't thinking about any of that, but obviously because Bo does know who the actual Jedi are, she was like, Ahsoka, and it was game over for me. I was freaking out. Connor, let me know what was up in that moment for you.
Yeah, I'm totally freaked out too. Ahsoka is one of those characters that when Clone Wars first came out, you watch like the Clone Wars movie and you're like, who the heck is this Snips person, and why? And then you watch all the Clone Wars, and then you watch Rebels too, and you just completely love the character, right? And love exactly what she stands for and how she sort of like takes no nonsense from anybody. And so, yeah, the fact that Mandalorian was going to go see Ahsoka in live action, pretty awesome. Totally fascinated. Again, the timeline is going to be so interesting on this, because the end of Rebels, right, ends with Ahsoka and Sabine joining up to go and find Ezra.
Yeah.
And that happened right after the Battle of Yavin, or right after the Battle of Ondor, right? So
yes.
So like on the timeline, does that end credit scene in Rebels happen before the events of the Mandalorian, or does it happen after the events that we're going through in Mandalorian?
Yeah.
My gut says after, which is interesting. But
yeah,
an interesting sort of set of connotations. But yeah.
Well, and I wonder if it did happen before, and she's on wherever she's on, if she's still in the middle of her search for Ezra, or if there's options. She's in the middle of her search for Ezra, and that's where they happen to be. And then we see Sabine too. That would be amazing. Or if they already found Ezra, so now she's settling somewhere or on a new mission. Or if they found him and he's there with them. Which, in case we would see both of them, Sabine and Ezra and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
That
totally
would be
unclear.
a lot.
And super exciting to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a lot. That would be like so much stimulation. I don't know if they could do that to Star Wars fans. Joe, how did you feel when Ahsoka was revealed?
I like Ahsoka a lot, and whenever I watched her in Clone Wars and what I've seen of Rebels, I appreciate the character. And when I did hear her name drop, that's what I started thinking of was there's going to be a lightsaber fight, and just all that different kind of hype. But I'm excited to see how they're going to handle the rest of the season with her being a factor, and if there's going to be more conflict created because of the Mandalorians' attachment to the child, or and I have a theory, but I'm not going to say it because if I say it and then it doesn't come true, I'm going to sound stupid. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens.
Okay, well, I'm going to get that theory out of you at some point because that's interesting.
Yeah, maybe off the record.
Off the record. It's a lot of like a waiting game. Do you guys think that we are going to get an answer soon, or that it's going to be the last episode of the season? Connor, what do you think?
I would be so bummed if it was the last episode of the season.
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to end on a cliffhanger related to the fight with the Empire than we are something about Ahsoka. So,
yeah. I like that. Joe?
I think we'll probably end up getting a cliffhanger, maybe, but it's going to be more positive than the last one.
Yeah, that's fair. Positivity in the last one. That's fair. I do wonder when she's going to show up, if it's going to be this season, if it's going to be next season, if it's going to be the last episode, if it's going to be the next episode. But that, honestly, that's the major thing keeping me on my toes this season. Because last season I was just like, we're getting into the Mandalorian, we're finding out who he is, this is awesome, yay. And now I'm like, oh my god, like when? What's gonna happen? And honestly, that's also a bad thing because that's what happened to me after episode 11. I got really hype and I was like, there's no way they're gonna just answer that question immediately after. So I tried to talk myself down off the ledge of, oh my god, Ahsoka, she's coming so soon, so that I would be prepared to be disappointed by episode 12, which I was. Not in the episode in and of itself, obviously, but for the sheer excitement of Ahsoka, I built myself up and tore myself down all in one setting. So it's fine. Yeah. Speaking of episode 12, let's talk about it. Again, we won't spend super long on this one, but we will still mention a few things. This one is called The Siege. I don't know in what way this would be considered a siege. But I guess it kind of is of that base, you know? So the Mon Calamari mostly fixed his ship, but it's still like putzing along. So he was like, let's stop in and see some friends, on Navarro, which is, I guess, now their home planet. It was originally very like Mos Eisley-like overall. And they decided, no, let's stay here and fix it up. They had that conversation in season 1 too, so they like let us know that that's what they were doing. And we end up there, but cute moments that I have to mention because it's just part of who I am is that when they're on the ship and they're on the way to Navarro and he's doing the red and blue wire thing, super cheesy. Joe, just like you said earlier, like him including the Baby Yoda in the story more. So there's actually like factors at play and he's not just carrying him around. He's still mostly doing that, obviously. Yeah. But the red and the blue wire thing was funny only because he followed it up with, "Are you okay?" And I was like, that's so cute. He's so concerned. And then they took, this is something I didn't notice the first time, which is why I think it's super cute now. They took a simultaneous sip of broth together. And it was so precious. If you didn't see it, go back and watch it because it's awesome.
It was super cute. Definite father and son mode.
Yeah, it was so cute. Okay, I'm fine. I'm off my cute soapbox. So these creatures, I don't remember the name of their species, are now living in the Armor's Forge area. Am I correct? That's that space?
I think.
The big, thing where they were making food is what gave it away for me.
Okay.
And Cara Dune is revealed as the Marshal. Yay. And
yeah, you're right. You're right about the armor part.
Yeah?
Anyway.
It just looked like that same space. So I was like, I think that's where they are.
It was, because in that shot, or in one of the shots leading into it, you see the the dust mark from where the skull used to be.
Oh.
You remember that?
No, I missed it. I mean, I remember it, but I missed it entirely. I didn't even see that.
Okay, well, yeah, that's what told me that, the armorer Mandalorian had left, and then, that they had taken it over, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
so,
I do love that.
Way to keep it in the universe.
Yeah. So, what's her face? I don't remember her name. Gina Carano. Got her time to shine and got to beat some people up as her previous career required. So I think that's cool. I think it's cool that she got to showcase her talents. But that's all I'm going to say about her. Then we get to see Baby Yoda go to school and steal some macaroons.
So funny.
My question for you guys about that, I know it's that's such a small moment to matter, but Connor, why do you think we haven't seen a lot of Force using in these episodes so far?
I think one of the cool things about Mandalorian is that it's not just a ton of Force users going wild on each other. The Force is like this thing that's just completely foreign to so many of the people in the universe, right? So it's cool to see just people going about their lives without it. I don't think the child is very good at controlling his usage of the Force, right? And so, him going and grabbing the macaroons is sort of a rarity instead of sort of something that he does every day. But,
right. Yeah, I like that. Joe, why do you think we haven't seen a lot of Force from him this season so far?
Well, maybe it could just be a filmmaking tactic, because some movies and shows like to build suspension and like to. Because I feel like if they use the Force too much, then we're just going to get to the point where it's like, oh, he's using the Force again. But
yeah,
if you take a little time and kind of distract him from the Force, then that builds the moment that it's used again to be something more and more significant to the show.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair too. I really had no answer. I wanted to know what you guys thought. I was just like, I guess we haven't seen him use that, because I only questioned it after I saw him steal the macaroons, and I was like, he hasn't done that yet. Because there have been times where he definitely could have. Also, spiders. Hello. But like Connor said, he's not very good at it, so maybe better for everybody involved that he didn't do anything.
Yeah, you can use it on rather large animals and fire and macaroons, and those are his limitations.
And that's it. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So then I'm kind of jumping around, but we meet Mythrol again, which is from episode 1 of season 1. And he expels this weird dust from his body because he's so nervous. I think that's
his form of flatulence.
It's so crazy. They think of literally everything when it comes to Star Wars and creatures and characters, and I'm fascinated by it. And Mythrol is one of those people. He's definitely a moment of humorous relief in most, if not all, of his moments. But that one was great.
Yeah, it was a topper.
Yeah, really. So more of again, that was just kind of a side moment that I wanted to mention. This is one of the questions that I had about episode 12, is the Mando really is willing to help Greef Karga and Cara Dune. And I know that they're friends and they've built this relationship through what we see in season 1 and stuff, but he was really willing to help them. Well, not really, but willing to help them in a more okay manner, rather than when Bo needed his help. And I feel like he's been looking for other Mandos for so long. That's been a very major part of his journey. And even though Bo is not the same type of Mandalorian, she obviously is also not worried that he thinks that they're not real Mandalorians, you know?
Yeah.
Do you guys think it matters that he wasn't as willing to help Bo, or that he's more willing to help people like Greef and Cara who have technically been like scummy people in recent times?
He's got history with Greef and Cara.
Mm-hmm.
And they've sort of been through the grinder together and figured things out. Bo, he would have gone his entire life looking for a Mandalorian, and then, for him to find out, oh wait, they're not exactly what I thought they were. Like, I don't think it's unreasonable for him to be sort of upset.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Retreat to think about these things.
Yeah, that's fair. Joe, same deal? Different?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Mando still has some stuff to learn because he's not even, I don't think he's fully aware of all the Mandalorian traditions, because they are definitely, I think that their rules differ by their clans. So that could also be a factor, but we'll see how when more Mandalorians come into play, how that comes together. Yeah,
that's true. I definitely appreciated that he was more apt to help Greef and Cara, because like I said, those are his friends. He didn't really have any before then. And they had built this relationship through all these tough times they've been through. So I was like, oh yeah. And then that's kind of where the question came from. I was like, well, Bo's a Mandalorian and he really wanted that, but not enough. And there's not that relationship there. And it questioned everything he thought he knew about himself. Right. So it's fair of him to not immediately jump in that. Make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, this is an interesting thing that I did think about it in the moment, but hadn't revisited. The scout troopers, which I guess are another name for the bike troopers.
Yeah.
Listen, where did that come from?
The scout trooper?
Yeah, let me back it up a little bit. So they escape from this Imperial base, which we'll talk about in a minute, but they escape from the Imperial base, and the scout troopers, the bike troopers, literally just fly off the cliff on their bikes. That was awesome. I very much appreciated it. Huh?
Yeah, the full send. Like, yeah, whatever, we'll chase him.
Yeah.
It happened.
Literally, game over. Whatever, man. This is our job. And so my first thought was, how did they do that when in Return of the Jedi, they literally, looked around and blew up by running into a tree? But technically, they still did the same thing in this, because two of them were, right next to each other, and they both ran into rocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very on brand at this point.
Yeah, very, very on brand with the missing your shots, and then not being on a too articulate.
Yeah.
Too coordinated.
Being completely unaware of your surroundings, crashing into stuff.
Yeah.
There's a reason the main characters go be mindful of your surroundings.
Yeah, really. That was such an interesting moment, because at first I was like, oh my god, where did that come from? How did they don't do that. They're not that skilled to just be flying off cliffs. Right. And then they blew themselves up, and I was like, oh, there it is.
Oh, there's their usual characters.
Whoop, there it is. Yeah. Okay, I think I only have one more important thing to really say. No, two more. My unimportant thing that's left for this is baby puke.
Oh my god.
That was disgusting.
That was so funny.
I was like, what's going on?
What do you expect? It's a child.
I was so excited about his flying skills, and when they went in and Baby Yoda was having a good time on that shot, and I was like, nuh-uh, he's spinning in circles. This is not a good time. This sucks. And then it flashback, and then he puked, and I was like,
yeah,
that's gross. I literally asked for it, but it was disgusting. Okay, so my two final important things before I get to you guys' final thoughts on everything. The conversation between Cara and the rebel pilot, again, don't remember his name. He talked about, we could use your help. He knows that she's from Alderaan. He knows that she's faced loss. He also knows that she's the reason that Navarro is getting cleaned up. What kind of foreshadowing do you think that leads to? What do you think Cara's future is in the story? Does it have anything to do with the Rebellion, which I guess is the New Republic now.
She may play into the New Republic in some degree, but
Think?
I don't as to whether she will be alive long enough to contribute to the next Resistance or Rebellion.
That's fair.
We'll find out.
Yeah, Car's future.
Yeah, hard to say. I think she'll be on Navarro for a while.
I definitely think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if her time on Navarro is going to just kind of bring her back down from those thoughts that she was likely having, because when he set down that little rebel symbol, I mean, she was feeling it, you know? Yeah. She was like, oh my god, like, what? I thought I left all this behind, that was my goal, and now he's bringing up all these emotions. Her character seems like she's going to be one that just shoves it down anyways. But I feel like she's also going to snatch that medal up and hold on to it and then be considering other things in the future. So, curious to see what happens.
Yeah, totally see all this pointing towards another confrontation with the Empire, right? And obviously that's something that's so close to her character and so many of the others there. You know, that she'll do whatever she can to defend her.
Yeah, for sure. Final thing is, like Joe mentioned earlier, Moff Gideon is prepared. My question for you about that preparation moment, it opens up, there's steam and fog and spooky things happening, and there's a bunch of TIE pilot suits. But are they suits? Are they people? Are they droids in suits? What are your thoughts, Connor? You're smiling.
I think it might be people.
Are you going to take it? Yeah, they're definitely dark troopers.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So stormtroopers that were given some ability to use the Force, or like precognition and stuff like that. So I think there's two things at play here, right? One is dark troopers, right? So Moff Gideon's definitely trying to put together an elite force for something, right? And Baby Yoda is sort of the child is sort of the central part of that, right? That's why we saw the scientists talking about like the test subject and how they were trying to use the blood. So I heard him talk about M count, right? Which, you know, the M word has been such a bad word for Star Wars fans for the last 15 years, but I think it's safe to say now that that midi-chlorians are somewhat important. Maybe not in the way that Qui-Gon described them or the Jedi understood them to be, but like they're very interesting sort of story there.
Yeah.
I have more thoughts on the M count stuff, but Joe, do you want to talk about Dark Troopers?
I'm not too knowledgeable of Dark Troopers, but until you mentioned that they have some precognitive force ability or potentially can, so I'm curious to see how much of a challenge they're going to put up. Yeah,
I've literally never heard of them, so thank you both for that new knowledge. Holy crap.
You can thank Connor. Connor's the brains.
Connor, I want to know more about your thoughts on the M count thing. What's up?
Okay, so I'm a big fan of so I'm very aware of music that's happening in Star Wars, right?
Yes.
As I feel like most of us are, right? It's such an important part of the universe. The theme that we hear in Revenge of the Sith at the opera scene, when we're talking about Darth Plagueis the Wise, is the same theme that we hear sort of when Snoke is talking, right? During episodes 7 and 8, right? When we have just sort of one-on-ones with Snoke.
Yes.
That same sort of feeling and that same sort of sound is the same sound that we get when the gang is looking at the research or the little floating body in the Bacta. So it's that same sort of like whatever.
Yes.
And so at first, my first thought was, oh crap, they're making Snoke. Like they are doing some of this sort of Sith magic or alchemy or whatever it is Pippin calls it in the Rise of Skywalker. Something like that is happening here. But
it's actually Mary.
Is it Mary, not Pippin?
Mary.
Yeah, so Mary, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't want to actually do that to you, but here we are.
No, that's great. That cracks me up.
Oh my
Pippin
god,
sounds funnier, and I feel like it's a more distinct name than Mary. But if it's Mary, I'm going to make sure that use the right name.
Correct.
But yeah, same song. I like, or same general tenor. I'd be fascinated to find out that some of the child's blood turns into something related to the Sith Eternal Emperor. But,
Yeah, that's I would like to think that I'm aware of Star Wars music, but I only am sometimes. I need to be better about it. But it is always a good highlight of past and present things every time, you know.
Yep.
My brain usually can register across the stars in almost anything if it's present in there. I immediately am like, huh. Oh my god, you know, it's just one of the songs that has lived with me. Okay, I think that's it. Joe, do you have any final thoughts on what we've seen so far in Mandalorian Season 2?
I just can't wait to see what else is coming, and I've already been hyped up enough, and I thought Carl Weathers did a great job with the last episode and the action direction, and I look forward to the future, and I can't wait to see what Dave Filoni has to bring for us on Friday.
Hell yeah. Connor?
Oh, yeah.
yeah, this is some of the best Star Wars related content that we've had in a very long time, and I love it. I'm here for it every week, and I'm super into the way that it brings together all these different elements of like the Star Wars universe, without necessarily being in your face, and without everything having sort of galactic consequences every time something happens.
Yeah.
Right.
The main thing with like the movies, like everything's life or death. You know, this feels lower stakes, but it's also just adds to much universe. I love it.
Yeah.
I do. That's such a good point. There's no galactic consequences.
Yeah.
That's so important. Yeah. Like even the Darksaber isn't really like there's no galactic consequence. Like it's just like a form of lightsaber that he happens to have, but for Bo-Katan it means so much more, which is why that part of the story is important, you know? I really appreciate you both coming on here and talking Mando with me. You guys are always welcome to talk Star Wars with me. I am going to be thinking up some more topics soon, so I'll reach out to you guys. If you have some free time, please feel free to come back. Joe, do you want to tell people where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook as Joe Bass, or on social media, on Instagram as, I think I changed it recently, but it's that Wizard King.
Wizard King. Connor, I know you're not often on social media, so I'll just tell the people that if you brought up a topic that they want to talk to you about, that they can reach out to me. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Great.
Hours discussion. So.
You can find him on email.
Yeah. You guys can find me personally at CJerica on Instagram and CJerica95 on Twitter. I'm not super active on Twitter, but it's fun. And you can read my blogs at thekybercrystal.wordpress.com. Crystal has 2 L's in it. I have not been active on there recently. I probably won't be for some time, but there is quite a bit of past content. And the Kessel Run Weekly website also has some blog content. So please make sure you follow the main channel at Kessel Run Weekly on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can visit that website. Like I said, there's some book reviews, some blog posts, and all of our podcast episodes. We have the YouTube channel up and running for a little bit. Connor and Joe are on there as well because they were on my game show. It was very cheesy and fun, and it was a really good experience. So hopefully we'll have more of those in the future. I think that's it. Thank you both again so much for joining me. Thank you both for joining me, and may the Force be with you.
And also with you.